This is a beautiful song that I'm opening with called Rain by Suzanne Ciani, sending it forth as a musical prayer that we might get some rain to help put out the fires.
Well, hello, beloveds, and welcome. My name is Dr. David Goldberg, and welcome to Unity on the Avenue. We're right here on the corner of 17th and Dahlia, just off of Colfax in Colorado in Denver's Park Hill neighborhood. It is a beautiful space. It is a wonderful sanctuary, our wonderful Unity House right next door, and our beautiful 7-circuit labyrinth in between our two spaces. You are welcome to join us anytime. And in these interesting times, until we can come back together in full spiritual community, we love you, we bless you, we continue to honor you, and we love connecting with you in this way through our online services. So please know that we are always here, we are always available, unityontheavenue.org. If you have general questions, if you have specific questions, if you have a prayer request, I would be honored to be with you in that space, as are our amazing and talented and highly conscious chaplain prayer partners. So on this day, we are overjoyed and honored to have a guest speaker. So please sit back, relax, connect with this beautiful beloved being, and know that all is well.
Well, good morning. What a great day it is. No matter if it's morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever it is that you've chosen to join us today, I welcome you. My name is Rama Newton, and I am a student of the Science of Mind, Religious Science faith. And Dr. David Goldberg invited me to be our speaker today, and I'm just so honored to be here and to join with you. My only wish is that you could all be filling these seats today instead of watching this online. I really look forward to the opportunity to come back and meet you in person and be in this space that you have that is so beautiful here together with you. So as we start our day today, we do so knowing that we are all collaborating in this thing called life, and that through unity and through our teachings, we are giving into the society in a great way. And I just invite you now to consider whatever contributions you can make, whether that's a financial contribution or the contribution of prayer, showing up as the beautiful spiritual person that you are and spreading these messages throughout our society. We thank you for all that you're possibly able to give. If you're giving financially today, we have a multitude of ways to do so. The easiest way is to go online to our website. You can also use the new giving app. What a gift that is for giving. You, of course, can mail your check into the church. Why don't you add a love note to that when you do, because we just love to see what's going on with you and what's happening in your lives. We so appreciate all that you're doing and all the ways that you give. And join with me today as we say our blessing as we move into the giving. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. As we move forward today, and I know that we're not together, I also know that no matter where we are at, we're always joined, because we know in these teachings that there's no place where God is not. And even though we are not in physical connection right now, we're completely divinely connected through spirit. So join with me in our spiritual place today, our statement of faith. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
Hello. I'm glad you could join us today. I'd like to say a prayer, but first let us relax, take a few deep breaths, and get centered. The prayer for today is by Marianne Williamson. Dear God, we surrender to you who we are, what we have, and what we do. May our lives and talents be used in whatever way serves you best. We surrender to you our failures and any pain still in our hearts. We surrender to you our successes and the hopes that they contain. May the light of your love shine deep within our hearts and extend through us the blessing to the world. And so it is. Amen.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power invisible, and you can see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and we can speak it with every word we say. Mysterious till you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha by Halula, angel's wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But difference is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes and see that such differences were never meant to be. It's Mohammed, it's your mind, it's your soul, it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. It's the moment of creation, it's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness and the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration, it's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations, it's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that runs most deep. And whatever name you give it, it's one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, the power of love.
Wow, what a wonderful song by Daniel Nahmod. I really love the essence of that song, the way that it delves into this idea that there really truly is one power, that all these pathways, all these avenues to spirit all lead to the one. It's in times like this that I have really been contemplating, where we are living in a world right now in a time that feels perhaps the most divided, the most conflicted, that it's felt in maybe a long, long time, or certainly for my life, maybe the most it's ever felt that way. And I also know that in this time, we are perhaps more united now than at any other time. You know, it's this pandemic that we're in, this time where this microscopic organism has found its way from one side of the globe around the entire globe, that has brought a perspective to us, that has united us in something, that has reminded us that we indeed are all living this one life, that we're all connected, we're all here on this thing called life and planet Earth. And in all of this, whether that's through the virus itself or through the outfall of the virus, we've seen through economic global crisis of some proportions that indeed this is affecting all of us. It doesn't matter where we are, who we are, what economic status we're living in. We're all united in this. And it's times like these that I think that humankind, perhaps more than at any other times, leans into faith, leans into prayer. It's these times when things are happening to us, what it feels like life is happening to us, that these conditions are being thrust upon us in a way that is out of our control, that I think we as humans tend to lean into our faith and into the power of prayer more than at other times. And just as the song that we listened to alluded to, there's so many pathways to do that, so many pathways to connect with spirit. And we're going to hear a song after this as well that says the exact same thing. And in that place of prayer, in that place of connection and unity that we all have right now, I realized that I think right now we perhaps have more people praying on the planet than at any other time in human history. Yeah, there's been plagues, there's been the Dark Ages, there's been the Spanish flu, and right now there are 7.8 billion of us on this planet. And if you think about all the ways that our 7.8 billion populace of humankind pray, how many people are coming together right now on a Sunday morning to pray? How many people on a Friday are going to the mosque in the traditional Muslim faith to pray? How many people who might not have a defined faith path are spending time in prayer for what is going on right now in our lives? So right now we're united. And in all those ways that people pray, in all those avenues, no matter what it is, what I want to talk about today is that you are the one that has the power. You put the power in your prayer. And what a gift that is. So I want to look at prayer and unpack it a little bit, explore what prayer really means in the teachings that we have of New Thought. Prayer, I think, can be categorized in a couple of ways. We have unconscious prayer and we have conscious prayer. In that unconscious prayer, our teachings tell us unconscious prayers because as we are the divine living in and as and through us, we indeed are prayer answered. We are God manifestation living and breathing as us. So the collection of all of our thoughts, words, actions, expressions, emotions, that's all prayer. That's all God expressing as us. So that's happening all the time, that unconscious part. That's just us living, being, breathing. And then we have conscious prayer. And conscious prayer is that place where we're living a little more awake, we're experiencing our lives, we're open to the Spirit as us, and we are co-creating. For we know that as divine expressions of God, we're actually co-creating with this wonderful thing called life. And in a conscious prayer, we are consciously activating and seeking to create the lives and the experiences that we want. Conscious prayer can be broken down into a couple of aspects as well. We have reactive prayer and we have proactive prayer. Reactive prayer is that place when we're reacting to the circumstances, to the conditions that are around us. We find ourselves in those places of what is going on. And reactive prayer tends to have statements like, if only, what if I would have, I wonder what. Reacting to what's there and then trying to pray for something different. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of these ways to pray at all. All prayer is wonderful prayer. And I'm inviting us today to look at how we can be more conscious with our prayer and more proactive with our prayer. So let me give you an example of proactive prayer. About 15 years ago, I lived not too far away from here, just down the street on Eudora. And at that time, the relationship I was in, we got a puppy. And this puppy was one of all puppies. It was bound full of energy and it had a mind of its own and it was doing its thing. And we quickly realized, wow, we have to work with this dog. We have to think about how we're going to express with this dog in a way to have an outcome that works for us instead of shoes getting chewed and the myriad of ways that dogs can show up. At that same time, there was a person on the television who was really showing up in a great way of prayer in a conscious way that was proactive. And you probably recognize the name, or if you at least know the name if you haven't seen his show, Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. Now, I watched a lot of Cesar Millan. We just jumped into the dog whisperer and started really soaking up what he was doing because he shows up and he has this way of interacting with the animals that's pretty profound. And I quickly realized in watching that, and he states it too, that his training isn't about training the animals, it's about training the humans. It's about helping the humans to figure out what it is that they need to do to have the expression, the outcome, the reactions that they're seeking with their pets. So when a dog owner brings him into their home and the dog walks up and is all excited and is running around and jumping up and down and maybe even piddling on the floor, that's not the outcome that dog owner is seeking. So that dog owner is like, okay, dog whisperer, what do I do? And when Caesar walks into the house, he has a full expectation that he will walk in and that dog will remain calm. And that dog will greet him and he will greet the dog, and then they might have fun and the tail wags and they get to be playful. How does he do that? He's not magical. He has a sequence to how he does his work, who he is and how he shows up. He's proactive in his approach to living and being and expressing with the animals. You see, Caesar knows full well that he has set an expectation with himself and with the animals that when he walks through the door, they're going to respond to him the way that he's desiring and seeking. So it's that place of relating to and looking at it that I realize that it's about sequence. That the sequence of how Cesar Millan walks through the door and shows up, but what he's doing even before he gets there is what's creating the results that he's seeking. You see, sequence is this thing that determines the results of all of life. So let me give you another example of that. Anybody that's cooked food or likes to cook food knows that you can take a pan and you can put it on the stove and you can turn on the stove and heat it up, add a little oil in there, cut up your onions and your garlic, sprinkle those in there, let them start sauteing, put some spices on the top, add some sliced tomatoes, let them saute for a couple more minutes, and you have this flavor complex that comes out of that. Or you can take your pan, cut up your tomatoes and onions and garlic and throw them in the pan, pour a little oil on top, sprinkle some seasoning on there, put it on the stove, turn on the heat, and let them simmer for a while. Both of those are going to have very different flavors. You can try this at home. If you have never done it, do it. Try it at home, and you'll see that those two have different flavors. Exact same ingredients, exact same stuff, but the sequence determines the outcome of each. So that sequence of how we show up for our prayer has significance. And that's all about you and how you're showing up. So Cesar Millan has a sequence of knowing full well and in a place of prayer and in practice that lets him show up in a proactive way to an experience. Now, another way that this happens through proactive prayer is how we interact with our kids. I'm a dad. I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. Actually, he's almost 5, and he would correct me if he heard me saying that. But in my life as a dad, I've realized that my children have ways that they go through life, and I have to find ways to interact with them to either be reactive, oh, why are you doing that? Stop, stop, stop. Or I can be proactive. Wow, I see that you're going to carry those scissors. I think a great way to do that is by walking. Proactively looking at what's there and planning for my day in a way that I can have the resources to stay with my children and pray with them, speak my words with them in a way that our outcome, our conditions are safe, are comfortable, are uplifting and joyful, not me reacting to everything that's there and feeling frizzled and fried by the end of the day. My mom tells this wonderful story of her mom, my grandmother. Because sometimes we get tricked into thinking that prayer has to get power through the intensity of how we're doing something. Caesar doesn't show up in an intense way. He shows up in a very calm, solid, grounded way. So back to my grandma would show up, and when she wanted my mom and my aunt to really get the message from her, she would whisper. She would whisper to them, "Girls, we're in a store. I need you to keep your hands to yourselves and to be calm while we're here." And boy, they knew in that moment, Mom meant business. It wasn't about the intensity of it. It was about how she showed up with her prayer, how she was proactive in knowing when I whisper, when I speak to you, you are going to respect me and we're going to do this together. So you see this place of unconscious prayer and conscious prayer and reactive prayer and proactive prayer has power through it. As Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind Religious Science, says, prayer has power not through repetition, but by belief and acceptance. When you believe it and you accept it, you're putting the power in it. Our unconscious prayers are like little pebbles being sprinkled into a lake. These little ripples that come out from the pebbles that are falling in there, that's our life. The pebbles are happening. Our conscious proactive prayers are like taking a stone and lobbing it into that pond to create these ripples that move out in a way that has a greater effect. So while we're always creating prayer and we're always creating our lives, we also have the opportunity to put power in our prayer to allow it to manifest in a way, to be proactive about how that's going to show up and be. So it's this place of how do you get that power so that you're lobbing the big stones and not little pebbles, right? Being proactive in your prayer, being right there with it and embodying it. Being in a place that, as Ernest Holmes says again, the more power one gives to their prayer, the more completely they believe that their thought has power, the more power will it have. You have to have belief and faith. Just as Matthew 21:22 says, and whatever you ask in prayer you will receive if you have faith. So that sequence, creating prayer in your life, When you devote yourself to being conscious, to being awake in your daily activities, to being in a state of creating and manifesting and having faith that as you're doing so, it's happening. It's like an actor showing up on stage. And we've all seen this when an actor or a musician shows up and they absolutely nail it. You're like, my goodness, that person was that character that they were. They were not acting anymore. That's faith. That's believing in what you're doing. And I'm here to tell you that you can do that. I'm here to tell you that you put the power in your prayer by how you show up with it, by finding for you what you feel, what you imagine, what you smell, what you taste. The experience of your prayer is what puts the power there for you so that you're lobbing stones and you're manifesting, you're creating, you're allowing spirit to move in and through and as you. What a gift this is and how powerful it is to do this. You know, when the co-founder of Unity started her exploration through this all, Myrtle Fillmore, and she latched into a phrase, an affirmative prayer, one of these things that we speak about so much in these New Thought teachings, that to affirm and know something in that positive way. When she had the statement of, I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness, she embodied that. She lobbed stones at that and created an outpicturing for herself that healed where she was at. That had such a ripple effect that it created unity, that it created silent unity, that created this place of prayer that is profound through us all. What a gift this is. And it's not that Myrtle had any more or any less than you have. She embodied it. She knew it. She had faith in it. She believed it. That's power in prayer. And that's you in the power of prayer. So it's this place where we have these opportunities, this time in our life where we can sequence life, where we can delve into it and see and know for ourselves. Prayer is powerful. I can be conscious and awake to it. I can do this. I can create a sequence of my life that allows me to pray in a way that is power-filled. Now, there are times when we take the sequence to a bigger level and we get our meditation station set. We get our pillow out, we light the candle and the incense, and maybe we have some nice harmonic music playing in the background. We have our altar all set up with the things that help us to delve into it and to feel it. And we sit and we pray. And that's a beautiful place to be, and I love taking the time to do that. And I also know that when we practice prayer and when we practice putting our power in prayer, we become more and more and more efficient at it. And we have faith and conviction in the moment, to the place that we can drive by an accident on the road and we can simply acknowledge the humans that are there and give a prayer in the time that it takes to pass by them. I know and hold that the person who is in that accident is living their life to the highest and best. That every single person that is attending this accident and working with that person has the exact skills that are needed to help this person prevail in the highest and best way for them. To feel it, to know it, to own that power, to pray with complete conviction. So you can have a sequence that lets you have that beautiful, harmonious place at your pillow, or you can do it in the moment when it needs it. And what about the times that you can't do it? What about those moments when prayer is far off for you? I recently got a phone call just about a week ago that my really good child friend had a horrible car accident. He was in a rollover, the car flipped multiple times. He and his wife survived and are okay, but in that moment when I got it, it still gets me a little bit. I knew that I couldn't pray for him and for myself in that moment because I was completely involved in the conditions. All I could feel in that moment was fear and pain and scaredness for what was there. So what did I do? I reached out to my prayer partners, my God squad, and I said, hey, I need help. Pray with me and pray for my friends here because I can't feel this. I can't know this. I can't lob stones right now at this and know that I'm creating the ripple effect that I want. So I asked for help. And that's the beautiful thing about prayer. is that we have this way that we can all pray. It doesn't matter where we're at through time and space. Those are constructs that we created, right? So in Unity, you have your prayer chaplains. So when you're in a place that you need assistance, reach out for help. And if you don't have a prayer chaplain, reach out to a friend. Reach out to anybody that you know has your back. And always remember that God's got your back. In Science of Mind, we have prayer partners. In Christian faith, they have prayer partners. There are lots of ways that people have prayer circles and prayer for what's going on. So when you can't know it for yourself, you just simply ask for help and let somebody else do the praying for you. And that's the place where we get to explore together shortly, where we're going to pray together. And I just want you to walk away today in this knowingness that you're the power in your prayer. That you have the sequence and you have the capability to be proactive, to really look at your life and live in a conscious way that is creating the outpicturing of what you're desiring. And you have the resources to ask for help when you need it. And what a gift that is. So here now, I'm going to move into prayer, and I'm going to do this in a little bit more traditional Science of Mind, religious science prayer, where I'm going to be speaking the whole time. And I just invite you, wherever you are, to allow yourself to be comfortable now, to settle into your seat, to settle into whatever room you're in, whatever environment you're in, knowing that all you're feeling and hearing and seeing is God in action. So as you move in and as you breathe, we recognize, I know right now that the universe is vast, that the expressions of God are infinite, that this place of God, spirit energy is absolutely everywhere and everything. And that it's in this recognition that God is absolutely everywhere and everything, the manifestations from the beautiful flowers to the trees and the grasses, all the stars in the sky and the space in between them. That God is and I am. That very same essence of God's Spirit is right here present right now with who I am, with how I am. And I know that this is true for absolutely everybody within the sound of my voice, within the sound of the message today radiating its way through the interwebs, encircling the planet, encircling the universe. And it's here now that I know so well that you indeed are the power in your prayer, that you have the ability to tap in, dial in, to feel God as you. And as you speak, whether that be out loud or in your inside voice, you're creating your life. You're co-creating the existence. You're seeing and feeling yourself expressing and being and living in a way that is more harmonious, more peace-filled. That as we are more united on the planet now than ever before, we are all coming together as the one kind, the one human kind. That we live and breathe and relate to one another in empathy and compassion. And we show up as the true skill of who we are, the unique expression of God as us. For this unique expression, this wonderful being that you are, is the divine appointment right now that you are here for a specific reason. I need you, we need you. Your skills are needed in the work world, for that's how we relate today. We work and we express and we trade and we add value to everybody's life. And as we do so, we are rewarded through financial givings and we are receiving. No matter where we are, what we're doing, we're in the flow. We're open to the receiving all that is, and we're really open to giving back, to giving into this thing called life. How joyous it is to live and breathe and be. How joyous it is to remember and know that we're connected, that we are one. That I merely have to tune in to be me, to be in touch with God, Spirit, the divine. I'm so grateful to know that this is the truth for me and for you. I'm so grateful to have society coming together and our cultures coming together in a way of unity, to know that we are all held in the hands of love. I'm so grateful to know that my words and your words have immediate response in this creative essence of life. And that as I speak these words, they are being taken into the universe and acted upon right here and right now. And it's through this, through these words and through allowing this to be, that I step back and I say, okay, God, you got this. I let it be, I let it grow, I let it express. And I let it all go, knowing full well that it is one with all. And I declare this now with you, and as we say together, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen.
This is a song by India Ari, and it took her a lifetime to write it, but she tapped into her love for humanity and her courage, and it gave her the words and the music to express this powerful universal truth in this masterful song called One. Billions live their lives, that Muhammad, Krishna, or the Buddha are the way. So some believe it's right to say in the name of Jesus when you pray. We are the humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and it all comes down to one. Some say God's a him, still many believe that he is a her. Does God live in our hearts, or is she somewhere out there in the universe? We are a humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and it all comes down to one. How far will we have to go before we learn the lesson? Gandhi was a Hindu, Martin Luther King a Christian. Regardless of religion, they know love was the mission, and it all comes down to one. Is there no God at all, or a pantheon of gods love in the sky? We can heal our broken hearts if we give up the desire to be right. We are a humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and we all want the same things: health, love, prosperity, and peace. Tolerance is the seed, and the gift of pure acceptance is the tree. We are a humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and it all comes down to one. Whether you're red, brown, yellow, black, or white, man with a husband or a woman with a wife, we can debate until the end of time who's wrong or right, but can see ourselves as one. 'Cause it all comes down to love.
We are the humankind of 7 billion. So many different races and religions, and it all comes down